Yo, this is Sojo86 bringing you another video. I wanted to talk about the roster reveal, but I'm going to tackle it from a different perspective. So, as a lot of you already know, WWE 2K25 did their roster reveal. We got some good additions, I will say, especially for those of us who love the legends like myself. Got a lot of awesome additions. The Head Shrinkers was really one of my favorites because I think that's awesome to have them in there. Not totally surprised because of the whole Bloodline showcase and everything. They might be a Bloodline showcase match. I don't know. But I do like that. The Islander, Haku, dope. I love all of that. So there are some great additions, legends wise, but the very disappointing thing is two legends that have been a part of the game for a long time now, Big Boss Man and Ted DiBiase, are not in the game this year. And, I don't know how accurate he is, but Pro Wrestling Shoot said that Jesse from Pro Wrestling Shoot said that they still have legends deals. So it's interesting that they're out of the game if that's the case. Um, I don't like that. Now, this could be something kind of, scummy. And, I wonder if they remove them to make them maybe an my faction, like unlocking them through my faction, which that would suck if they're doing that. But that's just, again, speculation. But I don't like that they're going. Ted DiBiase is one of my favorite wrestlers. Like seriously, one of my favorite gimmicks ever. I love Million Dollar Man. So that sucks that he's not going to be in the game this year. And Big Boss Man, I like Big Boss Man too. So it's like that kind of sucks. At least give us the Attitude Era Big Boss Man back. Something, or really give us both. I don't understand why we can't have both gimmicks. But um, you know, 2K24 gave us a lot of old school arenas and such. There was a write up about 2K25 that did say that they're going to have a ton of different arenas. Don't know necessarily what that means, but I'm hoping that it means that we actually get more legendary stuff. But what I wanted to talk about in this video was if there's anything to take from NBA 2K. I don't think it was the island. I don't think, the city is what you want to take from NBA 2K. One of the things I wish that WWE 2K would adopt is the idea of having the different eras, because even before they added in my era in NBA 2K as a mode where you can select and everything is already streamlined for you, like for your franchise, you could always filter which era you wanted to play with all of the teams that they had at least available. And yes, there's a lot of made up characters for some of the NBA players that own the rights to their own likeness. So a lot of them aren't in the game. I actually heard in NBA 2K25, like Blake Griffin's not there, John Wall's not there. There's a lot of people from like the early 2000s or mid 2000s that you can't use in the game anymore. And stuff like that sucks. But overall, 2K has always had they always made sure they put as many legendary teams in the game as possible. Now, along with the legendary teams that they have, they would also add in the their courts, right? So if you pick teams from like the 70s, you got those courts. If you pick the Cavaliers, right, from the 80s, they were playing in the Richfield Coliseum at the time. They weren't playing in the Gund Arena or the Q. So you see what the court looks like. The arena is different. Like the look of the arena is actually, it mimics what the Richfield Coliseum looked like. And they have all of these different changes throughout when you're picking these older teams. And for the most part, all of this stuff stays. And now because they added in the My Eras, they have even more courts. So if you're, again, using the Cavs as an example, if you're picking the Cavs from the early 2000s, you're going to get that court where they had like the blue, the ball going through the hoop logo. All of that is there, jerseys and everything. And all it is like a simple copy and paste, right? I'm not a game developer, but all it is a simple copy and paste. One of my big complaints, even though it's somewhat of a small detail, but at the same time, you could say that it is kind of big. One of my biggest complaints with the 2K franchise has been the fact that we have to rely on community creations to get a lot of these arenas in the game, which makes no sense because if you can already have a ton of arenas in the game already, and you can also download multiple arenas, why not give us just throughout the years, just continue to add on to the arenas. I mean, we should be at a point in this game where we have like 100 arenas to choose from when we're cutting the game on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how that takes up, especially with this new hardware. I don't see why that would take up any like, unnecessary space when, let's be honest, if we wanted to create a lot of, or download a lot of arenas, we could. Now, on the downside, if we download so many arenas, it takes up image space, it takes up all of that. So then when we start to try to download a lot of legends, we run out of space, and then it'll tell you got to delete some stuff. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have like a perfect balance, especially if you're old school like me and you want to do universe mode. One of the best ways is, downloading the arenas from those eras, right? One of the things that I've always thought, and I talked about this is not, I talked about this in a previous video. Why not? And I'm going to go a step further. See how they have these tabs where you got WWE arenas, and if you hit R1, you go to custom arenas. You can go back hitting R1 and L1, you go to the custom, you go to the arenas that are already standard in the game. They have pretty much all of the NXT. They have all of the previous main roster pay-per-view arenas, and all that. Why not start to kind of section them off with eras? Just section them off in eras. So when you first are in the arena selection, it's all the current stuff, right? It could even be current arenas. And then you can tab, and like current arenas will be all of the, it'll be the most recent elimination chamber. I can even argue that you should be able to use even the previous years like arenas if you wanted to. It really shouldn't even have to be relegated to what was the past year's PLEs looks. But if you're gonna go that route, have the first tab be all of the previous years, like it'll be all 2024's PLEs and what their regular shows look like SmackDown, Raw, and then tab over and you get NXT. So you have all of NXT's PLEs, and if you and have, like, of course, the NXT show. Even their live, that'd be cool if they had NXT's live look, like how their ring looks and everything. And so then you tab over again and you have 80s. So you'll have Saturday night's main event, you'll have Wrestling Challenge, you'll have what the Royal Rumble looked like in the 80s, you'll have what Survivor Series looked like, so on and so forth. You'll just have all of those. And then you tab over again and you have 90s arenas. So then you'll have all of the 90s stuff with the Wrestling Challenge look like, and then and maybe I think, well, Wrestling Challenge, I think it looked about the same maybe, but just have like with whatever the 90s, you'll have like the Monday Night Raw, right? You'll have the first Monday Night Raw arena, then you'll have the Monday Night Raw arena where like and by first I mean the Manhattan Center, and then you'll have which again they have that arena in the game. Like literally, as a matter of fact, which one is it that I have downloaded? No, that's the ooh. I hate that. I hate when I do that. Um, so right here. So this is the old school, Monday Night Raw, but this is from Community Creations. Like, why not? If you already have the arena available, just do it. 2K makes no sense, right? Makes no sense. And then also have this Monday Night Raw arena available, right? just have all of this stuff available. Have what the PLEs have what the pay-per-views were in the 90s, because again, Vince wouldn't change up the look of the pay-per-view so much, like the entrance and everything, where it was kind of like standard for whatever pay-per-view it was. Things really didn't start changing all the time until the Attitude Era. I noticed that was when it started having like a different entrance like all the time for a lot of these pay-per-views. But you'll have your 90s, so you'll have like King of the Ring, you'll have what the 90s SummerSlam looked like, so on and so forth. And then you'll tab over again and you have the Attitude Era. You could even call it Attitude Era. You don't even have to call it the 2000s, right? Like it may be, instead of going and saying the 90s or the 80s, you have like, well, you probably have to segregate those, like this 80s and 90s, but have Attitude Era arenas. So you have what the Monday Night Raws look like. You'll have two different Monday Night Raws. You'll have the 97 Monday Night Raw. You'll have the 98 Monday Night Raw, where they started to change their entrance a little bit, had the WWE logo behind them underneath the Titantron. And you'll have like probably like even the early 2000s Monday Night Raw arena, and then you'll have their pay-per-views, and then you'll have like, you know, Judgment Day and Fully Loaded and all of that stuff. Like you have all of that there at your disposal, and then so on and so forth. Like it keeps going, much like in NBA 2K when you're choosing in NBA 2K when you're choosing the different teams, and you can actually, you know, go and find, okay, I want to use the Showtime Lakers, and you can find that version of the Lakers, and you can use the current Lakers, or you can use the 2010 Lakers with Kobe Bryant and all of that stuff. I just think that would be more I think it'll be better for the fans, so we don't have to go to community creations to get so much. Because as much as I love community creations, it does help when you can actually have these arenas in the game itself. It does help. Now, going back to superstars, I think it should be the same thing with the superstars as well. I feel like we actually haven't had Bam Bam in a game in a long time. We haven't had Tatanka in the game since 2K19. I believe Tatanka was in 2K18 and in 2K19. Tatanka is one of my favorite wrestlers, right? And I've always had to go to downloading him. And even though they still have his entrance motion, like they have a lot of guys' entrance motion that aren't in the game, it's still like you don't get their entrance theme. You have to get something generic. And I don't know. There's nothing better than actually when the game has the wrestlers in there, because I know that somebody's going to make a really cool Ted DiBiase that we can download, and I know that people are going to make a really cool Big Boss Man. Oh wait, it's hard to play and talk at the same time, but let me do this. I mean, we still don't have Virgil in the game. I thought he would be somebody that would be a cool addition. Um, but if you don't have Ted DiBiase, I mean, not that you have to have one or the other, but you know, Virgil and Ted DiBiase go together. Um, we got Big Boss Man, but we've never had Slick in the game. It'd be awesome to have Slick in the game so he could have his manager instead of having to go and downloading Slick. So, you know, I mean, it just, I personally, I just wish that we had as many legends in the game as possible, like NBA 2K would do. You know what I mean? Like they always talk about, oh, we got like this like crazy roster, and obviously, if you can have a ton of people on the roster in terms of the current talent, you know, the NXT crop of talent, legends, and then on top of that, we have up to 100 different slots to download more wrestlers. Again, I don't see these as being issues because games can hold a lot of. It's not like having an overabundance of characters is going to really do anything. I mean, we have video games out here where there's like hundreds and hundreds of characters to choose from. This isn't anything like, new. So I don't know, man. I don't know. For a wrestling game, I think that it would be way better to just have these legends be in the game. Now, it's something, if it is a situation where contracts are up, okay, I understand. But I also think that they should probably try their hardest to get people into the game regardless. I mean, we still got Jake the Snake in the game, which is awesome, but Jake the Snake does a lot of stuff. He's with like AEW, and he really doesn't really do anything on AEW TV anymore, but he is a part of like AEW. He comes in as a manager sometimes, and yet he's in 2K every single year. He is in WWE 2K. Every single year he is in WWE 2K. But we can't get Big Boss Man anymore. Like look at Big Boss Man. Like look at this player model. I love it. Now, yes, somebody in community creations is going to be able to do this, and the creators in the community are awesome. But at the same time, it just, again, it's not the same. It's not the same. The best thing about community creations is getting those characters that for maybe they have a bad relationship with WWE and that's why they can't be in the game. That's what community creations was usually was really great for, like having King Kong Bundy or having like Rick the Model Martel, people like that. But for people who, like, I mean, look, Big Boss Man isn't with us anymore, but Ted DiBiase, he doesn't seem to have a bad relationship at all with WWE, and he's been in the game all this time, and to not have the $1 Million Man available, that really sucks because, like, again, Ted DiBiase, look at his player model. Like, he looks perfect. He looks perfect. And to not have him in the base game, that really, really, really is gonna suck. Again, it's not the worst thing, but it does suck, man. I just wish that, again, they just more so copy and pasted as many people as they could, and then on top of that, add to the roster, because there are a lot of players like me who only want to use the legends. That, like, I only have interest in using the legends. I wish they would make a legends game a lot of the times, to be honest with you. Now we could get Coco Beware as DLC because he did recently signed a Legends deal along with Tito Santana. They were on the first episode of the return of Saturday Night's Main Event, and they were in the crowd, and they mentioned it there. So with them signing a deal, I have no doubt in my mind that they're most likely gonna be DLC for 2K25. But I don't know, man. That's just I love my legends, man. I really do. I really, really do. And with the Attitude Era, we barely. The only reason why I don't mention the Attitude Era legends a lot in this, other than I wish they had a lot of their arenas. With the Attitude Era, they really never add enough. We don't have Triple H from like '99 or '98. With his My Time intro, we never get that Triple H. I think the last time we got that Triple H was WWE 13, and that was for the Attitude Era mode. That was the last time I think we got that version of Triple H. Gosh, what else? We don't get the New Age Outlaws anymore, which I think that's a possibility only because even though Billy Gunn is with AEW, they still make WWE action figures of him. So he definitely has some sort of deal where he could be in these games too, just like Jake the Snake. That's what I'm assuming. Because if you're able to get action figures made of your gimmicks in WWE, you do have some sort of deal where it is okay. So it's like, and I found out recently that Road Dogg writes for SmackDown currently. So why isn't Road Dogg in this game? Like, why are those wrestlers left out? Why do we have to keep downloading the New Age Outlaws every year if Road Dogg is working for the company, and Billy Gunn is about to have a Smoking Guns version of his action figure made, and they recently re-released the DX version. Released the New Age Outlaws. I did a video on it on my channel reviewing those action figures. So it's like if they're still coming out with Billy Gunn WWE figures, obviously he can be in these video games, and then they won't create them. But I really wish that they would. I wish they had a lot of these people available for the players like us, right? I think that was one of the things that I typically always loved about NBA 2K is that to the best of their ability, they always satisfied every type of NBA fan, right? There's people who play NBA 2K and only use the old school teams. When I stopped liking the NBA, that's what I started to do. Because when I was still loving the NBA, which was like honestly the year the Cavs won the championship was when I was still really into it. It wasn't until like a little bit after that where I just like fell off, but I had no problem using the current teams in the NBA when they were still playing defense and everybody wasn't shooting threes. That's all I was like using because I still loved the sport. I still loved the NBA product. Now that I don't, the last 2K I played, which was 23, I only used the old school teams. Like I did my eras using the old school teams. When I would play now, I only used the old school teams because it took me back to a time when I loved the NBA. So when it comes to wrestling, somebody like me, who I've made countless videos on my channel about how I feel about the current product of wrestling, and I really don't watch it anymore. The Legends is something that is for me. Like I love the Legends, man. And so a lot of the times I do feel like I do feel like a lot of the times 2K just refuses to put a lot of wrestlers in the game. If you ask me, I don't think a lot of the times it has anything to do with, oh, they don't have a Legends contract. I think sometimes they do. They just don't put them in the game for whatever reason. They don't put them in the game. And I think that sucks. I still I want Junkyard Dog back, you know? Junkyard Dog, the last WWE game he was in was it SmackDown versus Raw 2005 or 6? It was SmackDown versus Raw 2005 or 6. That was the last time we got Junkyard Dog in a game. I'm like, really? I mean, it's just kind of crazy, you know? He has a good relationship with WWE. When he passed away, they did the memory of him. You know, he's never had anything like issue wise, I believe, with WWE. We don't have Mr. Wonderful. We never get Mr. Wonderful in these games. I would love Mr. Wonderful to be in these games, man. I don't want to have to always download Community Creations. One of the main reasons why I'm even bringing this up about Community Creations and not wanting to have to download these characters is because we don't know yet the limitations of what 2K is going to do with Community Creations. We know that there's going to be limitations. We can speculate that the limitations are going to be that we can't download from the PC anymore. So if we can't download from the PC and a lot of our favorite creations have come from people who have a PC, then that right there is going to limit how authentic the wrestlers look, right? It's going to limit how legit the wrestlers look in the game, even though they may not really be in the game. Like there's just a difference. Like the Tatanka that I downloaded, fantastic Tatanka. I'm not taking anything away from the creator that I downloaded that Tatanka from. But when I boot up 2K18 and I play 2K18 where Tatanka was legit in the game, there is a difference. There is a difference. He has his correct body type. Like it's perfect. You know what I mean? It looks just like him. Even though the community creation version of Tatanka looks good, it looks fantastic. It does not look as good as when 2K themselves put it in there. I wish we had a deal. I wish they had their deal back with the Von Erichs, because we got the Von Erichs, I think, 1 year. I don't think Kerry Von Erich and his brother was in 2K19, but they were in 2K18. We had the natural disasters. Like, I want the natural disasters back. I want oh my gosh. what is it? The Bushwhackers. Like 2K18 had a really good like amount of legends. Psycho Sid could be DLC in 2K25. But like I've mentioned this years ago on this channel. Another gripe that I have with 2K, another bad practice that I have with them is we'll get characters in the base game, or there'll be DLC in a previous year, and then when they go away from the game and then they're finally back, they make them DLC again. I'm like, shouldn't DLC be for like characters who haven't been in the game? Like, why did we have to pay for Mr. Perfect and Lex Luger last year? Why did we have to um gosh, there was somebody else, but speaking of Psycho Sid, because Psycho Sid passed away last year, I have a feeling that he might most likely be DLC if that's just my speculation. But Psycho Sid was in 2K18, just he was in the game. I believe he was in part of the base game. If you got the accelerator pack, you unlocked him. If not, he probably was already in the game. I can't remember. I can't remember if you had to unlock him through the accelerator pack or whatever. I mean, typically that is like the base game because everybody buys that to unlock everything. But if we do have to pay for Psycho Sid again, it's like, well, why? He was already in the game. Just kind of just put him back in. But I just wish that they wouldn't take a lot of these wrestlers out. Like, if especially if they don't have to. If they do have to because of anything legal, that's one thing. But I mean, like, look, I'm very thankful that Doink the Clown is still in the game. But it's like every year the game comes out, I kind of hold my breath and I'm like, okay, are they going to take him out soon? Because that's going to suck because it's cool having Doink. But Doink has been in the game now. What was that? I think since 2K22. I think 2K22, he was a part of the DLC in that, and he's been a part of the game ever since. But there's no telling when he'll actually be taken out. Honky Tonk Man made it back in, which I'm very happy about because the last 2K Honky Tonk Man was in was 2K15? Yeah, because he was a part of the Ultimate Warrior Showcase, the DLC. And then he was never in the game again. So it's like, 2K, if there's anything that you want to take from NBA 2K, WWE 2K, I'm talking, just add in as many legendary things as possible, right? Add in as many arenas as you possibly can because you give us all the templates when we go to Creation Suite. The people that are in community creations that are able to make a lot of these arenas, they get the templates from your game, like from what you put in the create an arena. So just do that. Give us as many legendary wrestlers as possible because yes, there is a lot of wrestling fans who play this game who don't want to use the main roster. It's not our fault that WWE can't create stars and wrestlers aren't larger than life anymore. Their gimmicks are almost non-existent. Like, it's not our fault. Come on, man. You gotta give us these people, man. You have to. You have to. As many as you possibly can. As many as you possibly can. Just throw them in the game and let us have at it. Let us have at it, man. Get as many as you can and keep them in there. Don't take them out. Keep them in there. I did a count today. I may have messed up a little bit. I had a tab. I wrote this down today. I had it was towards the end of the day. We were waiting to clock out actually. So we had like 5 minutes, and I was watching the reveal, and I wrote down 80s and 90s wrestlers, and then I wrote down just 2000s. So anybody from like early 2000s to mid 2000s. If my count is right, and I think I may have checked when because I was doing like tallies, and I think I may have put one of the check marks in the wrong section a couple times. But from the looks of it, it looks like we have 41 wrestlers that were in the 80s and the 90s. And we have 41 wrestlers if we're talking like the 2000s era. And that's not just Attitude Era, because I was counting people like Batista. You know what I mean? I was counting people like Diamond Dallas Page. And even though Diamond Dallas Page was wrestling in the 90s and whatnot too. But judging by the model that they showed, I marked him and that's what I'm saying. It's like I marked some people probably in the wrong spot, but it looks like we have 41 wrestlers that were from like the early to mid 2000s, and we have 41 wrestlers that are from the 80s and the 90s. Now we would have like 43 if they would have kept Ted DiBiase and Big Boss Man in there, but that's neither here nor there. And you know, DLC comes out now. They do DLC really weird. I hope they listen to fans and don't do that weird sporadic DLC release like the way that they did last year. But if there's legends that are going to be a part of most of these DLC packs and we got to wait, there's obviously going to be more legend wrestlers available. But I don't know, man. It's just one of those things, man. I really, really, really wish they would keep a lot of that stuff, man. But listen, man, I've gone on long enough. This video has been long enough. I'm done talking at this point. Let me know what you guys feel in the comment section about like everything that I was talking about in this, man. If you agree, if you disagree, I just want my legendary stuff, man. I really do. I really, really do. But anyways, man, it's your boy Soul Drum 86, and I'm out. Peace.